Hey, welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary. My name's Eric Wilkinson, and you may recognize me as the Wolfman from mainstream media. I'm here to teach you guys how to implement options into your portfolio and or just to trade with options. But please remember, past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, we've got that out of the way. Let's get it on with Unenjoyment Friday, which is the unemployment non-farm payrolls number here in the United States. It's the biggest economic data point we really get throughout the month. Well, aside from maybe PMI, the Institute for Supply Management PMI. But let's take a look at it. And the reason why I like PMI, it's forward-looking. This one's kind of hindsight in a sense. But across the pond, nothing really to see there other than we got industrial production coming out of Great Britain coming in at negative 0.6%. It was expected to be a positive 0.4. They did revise last month's number up slightly to negative 1.1, but still not a good number there. It looks like that the European region is definitely in a recession. We even got Italian retail sales coming in as a negative 0.5, expected to be a positive 0.4. It's not a major economic data point, but it follows suit with what we've been seeing there as recessionary. All right, then here in the United States, let's get on with our unemployment numbers. We got non-farm payroll change coming in at 130,000, much lower than the 163,000 that was expected. Lower is bad, and that's again why we don't really put a whole lot of credence in that ADP number. It's been very close for the past several months, maybe even a couple of years now. It hasn't been that far off. Now we're seeing why we look at the non-farm payrolls. That's the major number. We did get our average earnings though rising to 0.4%. We want to see that. That gives the consumer more money to spend and drives that velocity of money. Unemployment rate remained the same. One thing to note, the lowest unemployment rate for minorities in history. Also, we had Powell speaking today. He basically started saying that we are unlikely to fall into a recession. So that is good. We would expect maybe the equities to start throwing a bit of a tantrum around that, because we just heard recently from other Fed governors that there might be a 50 basis point cut. So the doves and the hawks are going to start looking to have a little bit of a battle going on. All right, let's talk about the overall markets. We've got crude oil making a comeback. It was looking earlier this morning like we were confirming a bit of a top and maybe starting to head back down towards those lower 50s. But we've gotten a little bit of a push back to the point of control. So not a whole lot to see here until we really break out of this range. And then we've got golds continuing to slide here as they're the easier money, or the fact that the Fed might start printing money and devaluing our dollar and stuff like that is starting to look a little bit less, especially after Powell started speaking. All right, bonds moving higher by about a half a point, but they are still within their range that we've been talking about and really not moving. Let me pull this thing out a little bit, get it a little bit closer so I can do some typing. And the line that I'm talking about here is in and around this area. So you can see right in here, we've got a bit of a range-bound market for the bonds, but that's because we've already pretty much priced in the interest rates. All right, VIX coming off by 1.5 points. It looks like we are going to be losing our teens relatively soon, especially if we continue to rally, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average almost near the highs right now, up 118 points, and continuing to lose a little bit of a momentum as we start stretching out above the value area high. But I think that we could easily start to see next week or the week after these highs being tested in the equities. And then we have the E-mini S&Ps, or sorry, the NASDAQ up only 16 points today. You know, it is going to be quiet on a Friday. Might not necessarily be a rush to the Hamptons, but I think that there's probably still some people peeling out a little bit early. You can see volume really kind of struggling to get up there today, and I'm shooting this video a little bit late, so we should see some volume numbers coming in. E-mini S&P is up 11 points. Let's look at the overnight inventory inside day. We're not seeing a lot of volume, no effort to really push either direction today, especially on that economic data point. It's kind of like a conundrum, right? We got bad economic data, which you would think the market would kind of come off, but then, well, is that going to cause the Fed to really stay with that mandate of lowering interest rates and continuing forward? So we are seeing that kind of happen, I guess, if you will. All right, let's talk about what I put on. This is the TWLO trade I talked about yesterday in the daily market commentary. I actually used different strikes because we got this $4 move today. But we got low implied volatility, expected to expand going into the next earnings cycle. So it's a good time to set up these type of strategies when we're premium buying, low implied volatility, and would have that future expectation of volatility rising that will help us out. So I went into TWLO and did the November. I sold the 105 puts, bought the 115 puts, and then I bought the 145 calls and then sold the 155 calls in there for $4.79. All right, that is for the assumption that we are going to break out of this bit of a range here. I want to see us break out. It's been winding up like a rubber band, and we're starting to see this start to unravel or get a little bit of momentum behind it. So I'd like to see it come down and break out of this range, get some of those people that are pushing TWLO around in the markets again. All right, so if we go up and test those highs with the rest of the market, you know, rising tide lifts all ships in that sense, then that will make me go up and test these highs in that 150 handle. That's what I'm looking for on the upside. That would make this strategy come to fruition, or just fall out of bed and start going down below this 200-day moving average, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Other than that, I've got like Procter & Gamble I'm looking to try and take off. It is right there at 50% of max profit. I did this September, sold the 117 puts in there for 51 cents. It looks like it's trading around 25 right now. I'm looking to get out at 20 cents. So I've got a 20-cent bid in there. So hopefully I can get that. Probably look to cover that though by the end of the day. All right. Other than that, that's all I got. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Check us out on Facebook so you can get access to these videos a little bit quicker, especially when I've done it towards the later part of the day and want to get it to you before the end of the trading session. So check us out on Facebook, and if you can't take that, take it easy.